Thank you. Lisa, here. I'll let you take.
Want to be here? Do you want that? Chuck?
One is no one going to be here for? Oh, the water. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Nothing. I'm just wondering if I should head out or.
Yeah, go ahead. I think we're good. Thank you very much for everything today. See ya.
Did someone give us these two?
Yeah, I threw these out in case I didn't know if you need your glasses or maybe the computer screen. So I just went through those out.
People go, oh, I like your glasses, and I see all these little spots. You know what I mean? That's why I started thinking.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you showing?
No, you're not because I haven't started the meeting.
Okay. We'll put this somewhere where it won't get damp.
Our city council meeting to order. We have invocation by Father James Porter.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Let us begin in the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us together. And as you tell us through the Apostle Peter to put away all malice, all guile, and insincerity, and envy, and all slander, we ask that you continue to send your blessing down upon this honorable council, those gathered here and those throughout the city, that as we remember those who are least among us and those for whom we are charged to care for, that we may be guided by you, that all malicious speech may be placed away, and that in the spirit of prudence and of right judgment, we may exercise authority properly, and that we may, under your guidance, continue to grow this city in accord with your will. We humbly ask these things, as with everything, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Right.
Thank you, Father. Roll call.
Ford,
Here?
Moody,
Here.
Parks, here, Gillespie,
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one item to be pulled from the consent agenda, item F. Is there any other items?
Move to approve the consent agenda absent item F.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call. Item F is approval of and authorization to execute a proclamation declaring the week of April 10th through 16th, 2022 as National Telecommunications Week.
I asked for this to be pulled and I asked for a presentation. Maybe, are you doing it? I just want everyone to know a little more about what our telecommunicators do because they do an amazing job. So I asked for them to enlighten us a little bit more.
Captain Brandon Teener is going to update us on the exciting things that are going on and recognize them.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate the time. First, I'd like to say the chief would have liked to have been here. However, I think the mayor has him on other assignment. He's presenting the Mitchell Award to the cadets, transitioning from NCO to officer ranks with Civil Air Patrol tonight. So the first slide you see here is in the dark, and you'll move for the city of Broken Arrow. These calls include medical and other services. The dispatch center currently executes the mission with an authorized strength of 15 dispatchers, 4 call takers, and 3 shift supervisors. However, I have presented to the chief plans for an increase in personnel and restructure of staffing. This will allow us to meet the demand and maintain a high level of service. We have 2 vacancies in the communications center. Broken Arrow is the only dispatch center in Oklahoma serving a population of over 40,000 that handles all public safety services, police, and considerable training. Furthermore, it lends to higher retention challenges. Citizens calling for assistance must first speak with call taker or dispatcher before any services can be provided. In a sense, public safety telecommunicators are the first responders for the first responders. Next slide, please. Dispatchers and call takers receive calls from citizens in distress and oftentimes in need of emergency services. They work through the chaos and motion to attain vital information. This information allows them to determine the necessary response and provide services. Dispatchers are not only required to speak effectively and professionally with callers, but also with first responders en route and on scene. The job of a telecommunicator is at times extremely stressful. Shift work, as well as working weekend holidays, is undesirable but necessary. Telecommunicators are easy to forget as they are tucked away in the communications center, but they are the voice behind the badge. Without them, there would be no city services arriving on scene. Next slide, please. So this is going to be kind of hard to see probably from the distance you have from the screen. However, you'll see there's a significant increase since 1990, going back 30 years. Probably the single line item that has the most increase would be emergency, please. So this is a little time machine back in 1981, which our communications director, Steve Bradley, is here present. He was actually here when that picture was taken, which is impressive in itself. But if you'll flip to the last slide, this will show kind of where we've gotten. So we've come a long ways in 40 years, and we expect to continue that trend. And we very much do appreciate our telecommunicators in Broken Arrow. That's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
No, they do such a great job and it's a hard job. It's hard to find dedicated people. And I see if we appreciate everything you all do. And I know there's still people answering the phone back there. So just let them know.
We recognize that are here as mayor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stand.
If you're telecommunicators,
Well, thank you.
tip stand. Yes.
Mayor, if I can, I would just like to let the council know that my budget will include the hiring of additional personnel starting in, if you approve it in for July of this year.
So they'll probably clap for that.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve and authorize execution of proclamation declaring the week of April 10th through 16, 2022 as National Telecommunicators Week.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call. Motion passes. Moving on to item 7, public hearings, appeals, presentations, recognitions, and awards. 7A, presentation of a service award pin. It's odd for me to read.
I have the privilege of recognizing one of our elected officials this evening for reaching a milestone in her political career. And I always think it's important to remind the public that the city council members are essentially volunteers. They're unpaid for their duties and the amount of time and effort that they put in to serve this community. They put a countless number of hours, just not only preparing for the city council meetings, which happen a couple of times a month, but they also try to be very responsive to their constituents. And in Broken Arrow, I mean, we have one at-large council member, but the other 4 are also elected at large. And so they feel a sense of responsibility to try to be responsive and to be understanding to 115,000 residents. And so I applaud any person that chooses to run for city council or to serve as mayor for the time and effort they put in. And I think one of the reasons why we have a great community is because we've had elected officials over the years that have dedicated the time to try to make this a great place to live, work, and play. Tonight, I have the privilege, and this is the first time I've done this, is to recognize Mayor Deborah Wimpy for her milestone of reaching 5 years of service. And I would like to point out that she was first elected to city council in 2017, and she was reelected in 2021. She has served as our mayor for just about a year. Her tenure on city council, I want to mention a number of the many boards because I think it's important to recognize that in order to run a city, to be a good council member, and it's really getting involved in the community. And if I was doing this for any other, I think it would be the exact same, is that Mayor Wimpy is a member of the Broken Arrow Blue Star Mothers Auxiliary member. She's been a member of the Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Development Corporation, the Broken Arrow Public Foundation Board, Broken Arrow Veterans Board, Broken Arrow VFW Auxiliary member, Community Leaders of America member, Drainage Advisory Committee, at the INCOG, or Indian Nation Council of Government Board of Directors, Military History Center Board, National Association of Industrial and Office Properties Board of Directors, National League of Cities, Public Safety and Crime Prevention. And to be on those positions, that requires a lot of effort. She is on the Oklahoma Municipal League Board, Regional Metropolitan Utility Board, and is currently a Rotary Member Director, Public Relations Chair. So on behalf of the City Council and all of the employees, I'd like to recognize the mayor for her dedicated service for the last 5 years and to provide her with this certificate and this pin. So if you come forward, Mayor. So this plaque, this certificate, which I signed, it's a pleasure to recognize those years of your contribution in providing our citizens the best municipal program and service in our region. Due to service such as yours, Broken Arrow continues to be a community we're proud to call home. Congratulations.
Correction to what the city service career.
Service career. We are servants.
If I may, because what we do is, the people at the state and federal level, they're politicians. We're elected officials that serve our community.
That's all right.
And I think that should be pointed out.
I gladly stand corrected.
I might point out also is that I've seen a councilman, a lot of us do serve on different boards, but I'll say this about Deborah, or Mayor Deborah, is that she is very active on all these boards too. I mean, it's not more than just sitting on the board. She's a leader in each one of these boards. And so she is as I speak to our youth city council here, she just is a great leader, and not only to serve on a board, but to be actively involved with it. That's what Deborah is. So we appreciate it, Deborah.
Thank you. Well, it's an honor. Being from my hometown, I never thought I'd be, on council or mayor. So it's very much an honor, and reaching this milestone is amazing. Thank you for that honor. And sleep's so overrated. So you need
I haven't
sleep.
done it in years. I don't know.
Sleep when you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. All right. Thank you all. Okay, item 7B, presentation, discussion, and possible acceptance of the 2021 Broken Arrow Youth City Council Big Idea. Michaela. Speaking of Youth City Council.
Good evening, Michaela Barton, Community Relations Liaison. As part of the Youth Council experience each school year, students are asked to research and select an idea to present to the City Council that would benefit the city of Broken Arrow. I will let the three presenters give you all the details, but I do want to say that this group worked really hard to come up with a project this year that would allow for the various interests of the group members to be pursued. As you can imagine, and that you have probably experienced personally, it's hard to get a group of 25 students to agree on something of interest for everyone. So we discussed the struggle of carrying on the big ideas year after year and how that changes as groups change. And it was really important for us and for them and for me that we come up with something that can be carried on. And that was something that we worked really hard to make sure of. So I personally love it because of that, and that it's flexible and can change and adapt as the group changes. So with that, I'd like to introduce tonight's presenter. So we have Audrey Arendt. She is the senior class mayor. Corbett Campbell is also a senior. He's a counselor. And then Mark Lawson is our shining sophomore, one of the shining sophomores. So I will let them tell you all about it.
Hello, thank you for having us tonight. So this is our Youth City Council Big Idea, and Michaela already introduced us, but like she said, this idea is very flexible, and great thing about it is as the Youth City Council changes, then ideas can change as well. So yeah, next slide.
All right. So for a bit of an overview, the Broken Arrow Youth City Council would like to collaborate with the City of Broken Arrow's Communication and Media Relations team and Aaron with them and creating content to share across social media to educate and teach the citizens of BA.
The Broken Arrow Youth City Council will partner with Aaron McCulloch and the Communications and Relations team to share content using the city's social media platforms to educate citizens on topics beneficial to Broken Arrow.
With the goal of encouraging and using the voice of Broken Arrow's younger population, Youth City Council members will represent BA's youth by working with the Broken Arrow Communications and Media Relations team to create and share monthly content like Mark stated earlier.
And so why this is impactful is because not only will this idea let the youth of our city have a voice, but also increase engagement, introduce new faces and new entertainment in some ways across the city's media channels. Next slide. So with this, two of us have already spoken and shared with, I know Abigail and another one of our city council members have also shared, but me and Audrey both got to share for the State of the City video. And we received lots of feedback on from some of you counselors and other members of the city, how much they love seeing youth in the city talking about the things that were important to them and what was exciting for them.
What do we propose? Through discussion and meetings with Michaela Barton and Aaron McCulloch, we have come to the conclusion and agreement that the most beneficial way to reach the citizens of Broken Arrow is through social media. This is why we propose that the Youth City Council work with Aaron and his team to put out content once a month with the face of a Youth City Council member or group who is passionate about the subject being presented during that time. Our plan is to share and reuse this content for multiple channels, such as Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, to encourage growth and interaction with Broken Arrow's media channels.
So next will be the 12 monthly video idea topics that we've planned out so far, but like we mentioned earlier, they can change according to what you guys want, to what the youth wants, just whatever anyone wants, really. In April, we have ways to serve and give back to Broken Arrow. In May, we have the top 5 things to do in BA. June, we want to discuss at-home composting. July, we have recruiting for Youth City Council and what we do.
In August, we wanted to share and highlight some of our city workers and behind the scenes. In September, since it's Small Business Month, we wanted to share small business highlights and appreciation and kind of give a shout out to them. And then in October, we wanted to talk about light pollution and energy conservation awareness. And finally, in November, we wanted to explain how BA acknowledges and gives back to its veterans.
Finally, for December, we want to talk about ice skating and other things to do during the holiday season. Next year in January of 2023, we want to encourage citizens to recycle as potentially a New Year's resolution. In February 2023, we want to offer ideas to be active in Broken Arrow. And in March 2023, we want to cover what the Broken Arrow government is in charge of. And that's pretty much all we have for now.
I also wanted to mention, so Michaela stated earlier that, I mean, with all these youth city council members, there's a lot of ideas going around. And the great thing about this idea is that it incorporates everyone's idea. So we don't have to focus on just one thing throughout the whole year. It changes every month and we can revisit it and, you know, everyone's involved.
I like it. So which one of you are going to teach Counselor Parks TikTok?
I'm up for the job.
If anyone could, Audrey could do it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Now that's pressure.
We might actually all take lessons if you're going to offer them. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Any questions?
Audrey's a good mayor because she didn't say BA, she said Broken Arrow.
Thank
I
you.
like it when we say our name as opposed
Yes.
to just BA.
Gotta represent.
Well done. That's right.
Represent.
Represent. No, I think as Councilor Parks and I have been working with these young people too, one, this is an impressive bunch. And two, this is an idea that with Michaela's help, they've pretty much generated on their own. And that, I think that will lead to its sustainability. Every youth city council in the past has come up with some good ideas and we've incorporated them and made them a part of what we do. But this is one that sustains itself, that allows the young people to actually continue to contribute to our culture for years to come, as long as they want to continue doing it. And I think that's it's exciting to see.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for all the work that all of you have put in, and I really look forward to hearing. You know, we want to hear from you, are citizens, and you are going to vote. I mean, so I don't know if y'all have turned 18 yet, but you'll be. I mean, this next year you'll be voting, and you'll be voting soon. And I mean, this is a great way that you're going to be productive citizens in Broken Arrow by just sharing things because you're going to see things from your perspective that we might not see. And that's super important. And, you know, we want you to know that we really do value your opinion, and we value what's important to you as Broken Arrow continues to grow. So thank you. Yes, thank you guys.
Okay, I just thought of this, but another exciting note. If you approve our idea, we are ready to get started this week. We already have everything planned and a date scheduled, so there wouldn't be any rushing around or, you know, we're ready.
Okay.
I like it.
Girl that closes
Yeah.
sale. That's right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time.
You've done great work. All right, the next two items, item 7C and D, were kind of special proclamations. The Museum Broken Arrow had a fundraiser in September of 2021, 1920s theme. It was pretty neat. And a couple of the auction items were a proclamation from the mayor. So these are two of the proclamations. So item 7C, approval of an authorization to execute a proclamation declaring the week of April 4th, Packard Witch Week, which is always so hard for me to say for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation for you all. Whereas Packard Winch has been active in the Tulsa metropolitan area since the business began in 1924, and whereas groundbreaking for the current Packard Winch plant location on Dallas Street took place in 1947, and whereas Braden officially moved operations to Broken Arrow in 1949, and whereas the second week in April includes the date April 7th and April 9th as a nod to the aforementioned milestones, and whereas manufacturing is a major component of the strength of the City of Broken Arrow business community, whereas Packard Winch would like to proclaim the second week in April as Packard Winch Week. So I'm not sure if Mike is still here. Yes.
Yeah, Mike is here, Mayor.
Yes. Okay. So do you want to come down and grab it, and then because y'all already did. We did a picture. Yes.
You know, and down, I'll just say, when we did our tours with the chamber, I was able to tour with him, and it's very impressive. Very
Yes.
did a great job. I really enjoyed that.
The tour was amazing. Thank
We really
you.
appreciate all of you coming by. Welcome anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll come by tomorrow.
Well, and when you consider the fact that we're the third largest manufacturing city
Absolutely.
in the state, and it started with Braden.
Yeah.
It did. So
It's
thank you.
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and the next is a proclamation. I'll go ahead and read.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
We'll need a vote.
I made
Okay.
a motion to approve the proclamation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Sorry, I just passed on by that.
That's all right.
All right. Of April is recognized nationally as Celebrate Diversity and Inclusion Month, whereas the city of Broken Arrow is a city that welcomes and celebrates each of our citizens, race, ethnicity, that word is hard too, religion, and all other areas that make us different and unique. The city of Broken Arrow strives to cultivate our diversity and believes it enhances the quality of life, economic development, and peaceful prosperity in our community. And whereas the city of Broken Arrow invites and encourages the community to work together through peaceful exchange and meaningful dialogue from all citizens to move our community forward and live by our motto, where opportunity lives. And whereas community partners such as the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce and Broken Arrow Public Schools have initiated diversity and inclusion programs to create a community that embraces all of its residents. Therefore, I, Deborah Wimpy, Mayor of the City of Broken Arrow, do proclaim April, along with nationally, Diversity and Inclusion Month. And I'm not sure if Scott is here. Nope. Okay. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Christie.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. All right. I'm going to keep reading proclamations. Item 7E, presentation and ratification for the mayor to execute a proclamation declaring April 22nd Earth Day in the month of April 2022 as Earth Month in the city of Broken Arrow. Councilor Ford.
Yes. I was going to see, Galena, are you prepared to talk about, or? Well, why don't you come down and talk about our recycle event this Saturday? I know you're prepared to do that.
Do you want to read it?
Thank you. Okay, and I'll read it as you're coming down. Whereas Earth Day has been celebrated for 51 years since April 22nd, 1970, when Senator Gaylord Nelson from Wisconsin collaborated with politicians and student activists to bring awareness to the human impacts on air, water, and land quality. And whereas the city of Broken Arrow wishes to join the global celebration of Earth Day and host local events such as the Solid Waste and Recycling Department's Trash Bash Recycling Rally in April, to demonstrate our commitment to the beautification and preservation of our city's history and national resources. And whereas the City of Broken Arrow's Conservation Committee residents with messaging that leads to acts of environmental stewardship, such as water conservation, litter prevention, and pollution mitigation. And whereas our leaders understand small actions can lead to great achievements, and the city should encourage its residents to be mindful about taking care of their environment, so our city remains steadfast in its growth and successful economy. Now, therefore, Deborah Wimpy, Mayor at the City of Broken Arrow, do hereby proclaim to as Earth Month in the City of Broken Arrow and encourage our citizens to participate in activities such as recycling, reducing, reusing, replanting, and restoring our communities and the planet. In witness whereof, I hereunto said, this is Deborah again. My hand caused the seal of the state of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma to be affixed this 5th day of April, 2022.
Well, thank you for accepting that. I'm Galea Albano, I'm your recycling outreach coordinator. And like Lisa mentioned, we have our second now Trash Bash and Recycling Rally this Saturday, the 9th. So Trash Bash is our annual litter cleanup event that Keep Broken Arrow Beautiful has traditionally hosted. So we partnered with them and we have over 100 people going out to clean up litter just this weekend. And then at the events park, we'll have the drive-through recycling event where you can drop off hard to recycle items like cardboard, electronics, and sharps, among other things. So I'm really proud to be part of a city that understands the importance of all of that and see how we can move forward in the future.
I'd be remiss in not pointing out the Metropolitan Environmental Trust as a co-sponsor as well.
As well as the Met, yes. You can always go recycle those things at the Met as well.
Thank you for everything you do. I'm excited for Saturday. It's gonna be great.
I do have a question about Saturday.
Yes.
So, is it, we just bring recycling, right? We don't
So
bring
it's a
the litter we pick up?
Correct. So
Okay,
the
I
litter
just want
cleanup
people
is, it's kind of a two-part event on that
Okay,
day. So
okay.
the litter cleanup is basically individuals like Adopt a Mile groups, Scouts groups, and some church groups are going to be out there, and we designate areas for them. This time we've teamed up the stormwater crew to do some creek cleanups.
Yes.
Areas designated for that, and our city trucks will be picking up and we'll report back how much we've cleaned up off the streets and creeks.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
A motion and a second, roll call? Motion passes. Item 7F, presentation and discussion of the financial statements of the city of Broken Arrow through February 2020. For the general fund, Broken Arrow Municipal Authority, sales tax, capital improvement fund, police and fire sales tax, and overall revenue, investments, and expenses. Cindy.
Good evening. First slide. Today, we're going to just go over the first 8 months of our fiscal year. Fiscal year runs July 1st to June 30th. And this is as of February 28th. And I have good news all the way through. Investments. I wanted to always like to highlight some investments. Some of this is the bond money and some of this is OWRB loan money. Currently, right now, we have $78 million invested at 6 different institutions. The interest rate, I know. Interest rates is 0.06 to 1.03, but we did have some mature in February, and we actually got 2 investments of 1.5 and 1.58. So it's coming up a little bit.
And you mentioned these are bond funds. These are fund. This is money that's been earned through the GO bonds that hasn't yet been spent.
Correct. And then when we need them, and some of it is just some of our reserves too, but. The general fund, the revenues right now, as of February 28th is $67 million with expenses of 13.6 and the transfers out, which is the percentage to the police and fire funds. So our net income as of February 28th right now is $5.5 million. The reasons our revenues are coming in very strong. Sales tax rate, this is through the March, which is the February collection, is up 12.9% over last year's. Use tax is up 14%. We are actually, I think we may actually hit $10 million this year. So it'll be history. If you look back in history, it's when the Amazon came on and they started charging sales taxes, went up quite a bit.
Well, we were very concerned when
Right.
use tax was brought to our attention. But
And that's what I was going to, for the clarity of the listener, when we go to a store and buy something, where does the use tax come from?
Use line
Online
online sales, and it's point of delivery, and that's whoever gets the sales. The use tax is basically sales tax. If you look on your Amazon receipts or any of the receipts that you order off online, it will say sales tax, and it will have the Broken Arrow. Top revenues, the electric franchise is running about 69.1% of the budget, which is actually a little bit above because we're at 67%. Gas franchise is 77.1% of the budget because we had a very cold winter. Permits are at 71.1% of budget, and court fines are 44.4% of budget. Cable is 61% of the budget. Ambulance revenue is 85.7% of the budget, and Life Ride's running right on target. Broken Arrow Municipal Authority, the revenues is $51 million, expenses of $47 million. I also included encumbrances because we have a lot of projects going on, and that's money we have earmarked. When you take the encumbrances into effect, we actually have a negative net income, but expenses are put back into February. In March, we collect all those expenses and we draw them down from the OWRB. So it's a timing, and also our bond payments were paid. So, our drawdowns could be anywhere on a project, $2 million to $5 million. So That's just a timing issue, but overall they're doing well. Sales tax capital improvement revenues are 8.3, expenses of 2.9. On the sales tax capital improvement fund, there's a $1.4 million. The revenues are high because of the FEMA reimbursement we got this year, thanks to Jamie. And then the encumbrances for the vehicles or whatever we have outstanding capital. So our net income right now is $4.4 million. But as you know, last council meeting, we approved a lot of trucks and everything. So this fluctuates remember, this is a point in time, but we are staying within our budget.
So
our
wait, I
project.
have to ask a question. You said thanks to who?
Jamie.
Jamie.
Oh, okay.
Jamie.
Okay.
It was
I was like,
He
what?
fought for that.
Yeah. Okay. I was
Sorry.
like, well, it's the people. It's our money. Yeah.
He fought hard for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said something else. I won't even say what I thought you said.
Police sales tax fund revenues are 21.6 million, expenses are 17. So our net income is 4.3 million. Fire is doing well also. Is 17.7 is revenue, expenditures 15.9. So the net income is a 1.8. I just wanted to touch a little bit on the hotel motel tax. We only budgeted for the COVID due to the hotels. We are actually, as of February, we have collected about $550,000. So that 13 hotels, which is good to see that people are starting to bring events again. Miscellaneous stuff, I always like to throw in something. Purchase orders through April 1st, we have processed 3,266 purchase orders. And invoices processed through the same time was 21,721 invoices. Any questions?
If I can, Mayor, just we've had another really good month. And I want to thank Cindy for putting together such a very understandable report for the governing body. You know, we're in the middle of the budget process to prepare for FY 2023, and I'm taking the position that I don't believe that we can continue to see those types of increases in sales tax and other revenues. So as I have every year for the last 7 years, I'll continue to present a very conservative increases in revenues. And if it comes in above that, that's just additional revenue that we have for future operations. I will let the council know, as I mentioned earlier, is that I do think there is a need and justification for adding some additional positions in various departments throughout the organization to meet the demands and expectations that we have of ourselves and the community has of us. And so we are blessed to have some additional resources to be able to accommodate some of those requests for additional positions, which we'll discuss in greater detail in the month of May. But overall, very pleased with where we're at. And I appreciate all the information that you provided the governing body.
And we're getting our sales tax by the end of the week, and it's like, we wait.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need to vote to approve or make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the report.
It was just a
There's no
presentation and
action.
discussion.
Okay, it's not, okay.
Just trying to pull that up real quick. Item 8 is citizens' opportunity to address the council. There are none. Item 9A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of, or to form a 5-person advisory panel to review and recommend proposed future ward boundaries. Farhad.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager, and all our staff. The current city ward boundaries were approved almost 10 years ago, back in October of 2011. And subsequently, those boundaries have held up pretty well so far. As you know, every 10 years after decennial census, we propose as necessary, a redistricting of our ward boundaries. We have been working with INCOG and our staff and doing demographic analysis and the figures that have recently come out. So along those lines, we'd like to recommend a advisory panel or a small committee of 5, or if you choose otherwise, to form and review the options that we're looking at and make that recommendation to the council. This committee is an informal advisory committee. They will not be making any permanent decisions other than making recommendations to the council as they see fit. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Well, Mayor, I know that there was some suggested formations of this committee, but I had given it some thought and wanted to propose an alternate way of proposing it, so that no counselor is deemed to have been helping gerrymander something or what have you. I thought it might be a good idea if we each appointed someone from our ward, and with respect to the counselor at large, anyone in the city, that they would be from our ward, that we would appoint to represent our ward in these discussions and be impaneled, because most of the hard work's going to be done by NCOG and our planning division, and then have citizens that don't have a political bent or send anything, then supporting that and coming back with recommendations. And that way, it's just a thought process. That way, the citizens, I believe, would feel comfortable knowing that there's not been a heavy hand of any counselor or any group trying to tilt
No,
those
I
scales.
agree. Yeah. Because I would personally wouldn't want to be on the committee for that reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a counselor sitting on the committee, it would, if people like the way they did it, they'd think they're a hero. And if they didn't, they'd think, and I just don't think as anyone in elected or appointed position, like even the planning commission, that's too much of a burden. It's too much of and I think this leads to more transparency
Yep, I
in
think that
that
is an
thought
excellent
process.
point.
But other than that, I think I agree a panel should be formed. I just think that its makeup should be a little different than what was suggested.
And we will present to the panel the criteria that the city has used for a number of years over the last several decades to follow similar. There are state guidelines, there are federal guidelines, and some guidelines that have been established through different court systems in the country, and some are still in flux at this time. And then our city's guidelines have worked extremely well over the last several censuses.
Well, and I know the city attorney was kind enough to kind of outline for me sort of what those policies are, and it's really the boundaries are well set, and so I think it would be a good service for someone to serve on this committee who wouldn't otherwise be involved.
I have no problem with that. You know, I view it differently than the rest of you because it really doesn't matter a lot to me.
You're at large.
So you can, it doesn't affect
So
me.
you
that
can be on the committee.
All of them that want to run against me, can run. So I was going to say I wouldn't mind being on the committee, but I also don't mind appointing somebody to represent
Anyway.
me on the committee. So I think I'm fine with the idea. So I think it's good. Keep it clean.
Well, if that's generally acceptable, then I would make a motion to create the 5-member panel with an appointee from each, someone nominated and confirmed by the council. And that would be my motion, I think.
So
Does that
basically,
make
we would
sense?
just be adding 2 more to this because it had 2 council members, so we'll do 2
No,
wards. And then
no,
it was mayor at the bottom. So that's 3 of the council that would be.
it would just be made of 5 appointed people, appointed by the council, each member.
I was just going off of the list that he complies there.
Right.
There's basically 3.
I'm ignoring that list and
Okay.
3, yeah,
So we would take the 5. That's what you're saying.
yes.
All right.
Does that motion make sense?
Yes.
City manager, I mean, your name is on there as wanting it as, so would you, I'd want to ask your opinion.
Well,
You would have a designee.
I don't know if this is good or not, but this is my 3rd census that I've been around,
Wow.
for this. And I've seen it done both ways in other communities. And I like the idea. I mean, certainly there's many ways any community can do it. I like it when the council members are not involved. And to me, the unintended consequences of setting that precedence, and then as we get larger, and should there ever be any other changes in the way we elect elected officials, our council. So to me, having the citizens work with staff, and then we bring that, the executive branch brings that to you, I think is the best way to go about it.
All right. Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
I need to
Do we need
click
to-
on that.
A second.
I'm going to close that. We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Motion passes. All right. Item 9B, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an authorization for Mayor Deborah Wemby to execute a letter supporting the City of Broken Arrow application for rebuilding American infrastructure with sustainability and equity, RAISE, Transportation Discretionary Grant Program funds for the Broken Arrow corridor safety improvement on 9th Street from Kenosha Street to Albany Street. Travis.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Travis Small, Engineering Construction Department. The U.S. Department of Transportation has issued a notice of funding opportunity for a transportation discretionary grant called the RAISE Grant. And Mayor Wimpy just read out what RAISE stands for, Rebuilding America's Infrastructure Through Sustainability and Equity. The last few years, the city has turned in applications for these grant programs. Last year, we turned in a RAISE grant. The years before that, it was the Build grant. Before that, it was the Tiger grant. Depending on the administration, they changed names. So again, this year, we want to put in for the same one that we put in last year, which is the 9th Street corridor from Kenosha to Albany. That would include an interchange at the State Highway 51, and that would reconfigure that particular interchange.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to submit that, and depending on you guys' approval tonight, we would do so. I'll take any
Certainly.
questions you have at this time.
No questions, but when we were in DC a couple of weeks ago, we met with our federal legislators, and every single one of them were in support and said they would write a letter in support, which I don't know that we've had all of them.
Yeah, I think in the past, it's just been Senator Inhofe.
Mhm. So
And we
hopefully
even
that will
had
help.
A couple that don't represent our area
Yeah.
that said
Yeah.
that they would write letters
I
of
saw that.
support. So that was exciting too.
At this point, we already have Congressman Hearn's letter, and Senator Inhofe's is supposed to be on the way.
Okay.
So we do have two at least at this point. So
Perfect.
Well, and it's a much needed
Oh my goodness.
reconfiguration. If I'm going to meet someone over there for lunch or dinner, I have to plan an hour ahead. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, literally, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
I
it's
received
much
a
needed.
text this week from someone who lives in Tulsa who was going to a game at Neen Heights Park. And they said it took as long to get from Southern Hills, like 61st and Lewis area to 9th Street, as it did to get from 9th Street to Neen Heights Park. Literally. And I was like, I know. We're trying. So,
It's a good problem to have. It's a problem that needs
It's
to
a
be
problem.
fixed.
it certainly
very
is.
much so.
I'd make a motion to authorize and approve and authorize the mayor to execute the letter supporting the RAISE grant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. 5 yeses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Item 10 is preview ordinances. 10A is consideration, discussion, and possible preview of ordinance number 3725, an ordinance adopting a revised joinder agreement and master defined contribution plan document establishing the employee retirement system. Kelly Cox, our new HR director.
Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the council. This is a preview of an ordinance to approve a master plan and joinder agreement for the Oklahoma Municipal Retirement Fund. This is particularly for this ordinance is for the special incentive program for the city manager. The city manager holds his own plan based on his contract, and this ordinance would approve IRS changes. Every 6 years, we are required, based on OMRF's rules, to adopt these IRS rules. There's no substantive changes to the plan, just to the document, and it simply comes in compliance with IRS rules and regulations. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
A motion and a second. Roll call. Item approved.
Thank you.
Item 10B, consideration, discussion, and possible preview of ordinance 3726.
This too is an ordinance to approve the preview of the Oklahoma Municipal Retirement Plan. This is a CMO plan, which is a city manager option. This plan currently is not used for any of our employees. There is no penalty to us to keep this plan in process, but we do recommend that it be passed as well. Again, restating the joinder agreement and master plan to come in compliance with the IRS rules and regulations.
Make a motion to set the ordinance for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call. Item passes. 10C, consideration, discussion, possible preview of ordinance number 3727.
This also is an ordinance to approve the preview for the other employees, all other non-uniform employees. that would be considered other than the city manager for the IRS changes for the Oklahoma Municipal Retirement Plan, Joinder Agreement, and Master Plan document.
Make a motion to preview the ordinance and set it for adoption.
I have a motion and second. Roll call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Item 11A, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3724, an ordinance amending the Broken Arrow Code of Ordinances, Chapter 16 Offenses, Article 1, and General Section 22.1, transporting a firearm improperly. Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. As you may recall, 2 weeks ago, we had previewed this ordinance. Basically, last year, the legislature had updated some definitions and also some penalties if you hadn't identified yourself as transporting a firearm under Oklahoma State statute. As we are a statutory city, we need to make sure our ordinances are in line. So we recommend that you approve the ordinance, and also 11B passes the separate emergency clause. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Any questions?
Make a motion, we approve the ordinance.
Second.
The motion and second. Roll call. Do you have a move for emergency clause?
I will when it comes up. Move for the emergency clause.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call. All right. Remarks and inquiries by government body members. Along with Trash Bash this weekend on Saturday, Camina Villa is also having a cleanup, and they've got they could use some more volunteers. So just have a big citywide cleanup, which will be kind of exciting. So if you have some time and you're not doing Trash Bash, but you would like to help in Camina Villa, we would love that. I think that is where I'll be helping. And then we don't meet again until the 19th. And so I just wanted to remind everyone, we have our HOA annual meeting on the 16th, April 16th, Saturday. So anyone else?
Well, I will read the 11th Amendment. If anybody would like to hear it. I know everyone's excited. And I'm going to have to hurry because my phone is on red. It's like 0. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity, commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. So when I read this like 10 times, and that is like really hard to understand. But what I figured out in a very short summary is it prohibits federal courts from hearing certain lawsuits against states. So the 11th Amendment, and my phone is now dead.
Okay.
Perfect.
Anyone else? Remarks by city manager?
I do, Mayor. I have several. Good evening, Mayor, members of council, those that are here tonight, and also those folks watching. Let me start off by letting the council know that starting next council meeting on the 19th, in the beta meeting, Economic Development Manager Jennifer Rush is going to come and give you all a periodic update on TIF activities down south. We're reaching the point where the public work that we have done, we're working on stormwater right now, traffic signals, all that's moving forward, no concerns. Plans are in design, and I want to make sure council members are up to speed, and then we'll follow up with the public so you'll know what's going on, because obviously you're going to start to get questions. We already are in some cases, timing, so forth. And we learned, for example, recently that Research has actually expanded their 60,000 foot store to 65,000 square feet, believing that they've got a great market there. And so those kind of things I want to make sure you're aware of. Then also when we have the announcements about what's coming, we want to make sure we want to provide that information to you, because as you know, folks ask us quite often. I want to send a shout out to Jamie Ott and to Kenny Schwab, because the leadership team attended a multi-hour emergency management training exercise last week, focusing on a disaster where there was loss of life and how we would communicate with our citizens should that would happen, and then at the same time do the rescue and recovery. And I just felt it was very realistic, and the amount of time and effort that he put into it and Kenny put into it was very much appreciated. So I really appreciate all that, and I just want to recognize Jamie for being the leader in that area, making sure that we're prepared. A quick update is the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee planning is underway, and there's a couple of dates that are going to be thrown out there for the first meeting of the advisory committee. I have selected 2 individuals, one from our youth city council, one of our young professionals, I should say, that agreed to participate. And I spoke to a person that has experience that was reckoned to me from a member of the senior board. So I think it's going to be a great committee. I'm proud to say that Curtis Green is going to facilitate that for the city. Curtis does a great job, our city clerk, and he's always looking for additional to give him that opportunity. So I know Curtis is going to do a great job. Next, with regard to the gated communities, we had a spirited discussion about that a couple of meetings ago, and it's very important to me that we follow up. So I've asked Chief Moore to facilitate gathering the information, meeting with all of the HOAs and the communities to find out exactly what their participation would be. Would they be willing to pay for this, to cost participate with us? And I'm anticipating that I will bring back the findings probably in September, October, because we're going to do smaller meetings actually to be more productive, probably 4 or 5 of those. So I know Chief Moore will do a great job. One thing I want to mention, and just kind of put this on your radar screen, Councilmember asked today for an update on some discussions we had a few months ago about the fireworks ordinance, and nobody throw anything at me here, okay? The recommendation from staff are going to be small and not a lot of substance per se, but all of you I know get called all the time about fireworks. And so when that comes from the agenda for discussion, you could receive calls. And we're not proposing any changes in the days that you can actually shoot fireworks. But I just want the council members to know that if in fact you would like to have that on the discussion, to please let me know, because in the 7 years I've been here, I'm starting to see those folks that have concerns start to grow. And so if council members have ideas or suggestions about how we can try to keep the things the way they are, how we can improve the current ordinance, then let's discuss those at that time, because we'll have time to implement them. Also, just a couple of more things. The council members are going to be receiving an update on something exciting, and that's New Orleans Square corridor improvements. Staff is ready to visit to get you up to speed on what we're thinking with Kimberly Horn. And so you'll be looking for setting up some discussions informally to bring you up to speed on what's happening, and then we'll update the entire governing body. So it's really exciting. We're moving in the right direction to be able to get out to bid this summer as council requested. Also, just to follow up to the mayor's comment about the HOA, that is a really cool event. It's from 9 to 12. And so I just wanted to let everybody know the hours, and we will be advertising it for folks to come out, and it's going to be a great event. And a couple more things. Mission 22, if I didn't mention it, the date for that has been moved to June 11th, and you're going to start to see a lot of communications about this, because this is an extremely important event. We have families coming in from all over the country to help us with the dedication of this contemporary memorial. And I'm very excited about the effort that we're going to put forth with our partners with the Muskogee Creek Nation, as well as Mission 22, to honor those folks that are here and that have lost their loved ones. And so you're going to hear a lot, and I'm certainly hope that we have a tremendous participation from our community on that day to support those families that have had family members that made the ultimate sacrifice, and they continue to struggle. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about that over the next couple of months, because it's just so important for our community. And then 2 other things. You got to meet Kelly Cox, the new HR director. Kelly is a tremendous experience in the field of human resources management, and I cannot be more excited about her joining our organization. So looking forward to working with you, Kelly. So if you don't know Kelly, this is Kelly. Glad to have you, Kelly. And finally, Michaela Barton passed 1 year working for me. So about 3 weeks ago. So I've had some really good ones, and cricket I thought was the very best, but I can tell you some days it's like neck and neck in terms of I'm very well blessed to have you here. And I just wanted to publicly recognize all that you do for the council and for myself and for the Youth City Council. So thank you all your work, and I hope you stay for many years.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Okay,
We're all
Prince.
blessed.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. There is no executive session. Is there a motion? Motion to adjourn. We have a motion and second. Roll call.
Oh.
All right. Call the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call.
Ford.
Here.
Hedy.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Gillespie.
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
I'd move to approve it. There you go. Move to approve the consent agenda.
One more time. Yeah. Motion and a second. Roll call. There are no public hearings, appeals, presentation, recognitions, or awards, nor is there any general authority business. Remarks from inquiring or governing body members? Remarks from city manager?
I have none, ma'am.
There is no executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Call the Broken Economic Development Authority meeting to order. Roll call.
Ford,
Here.
Udi,
Here.
Parks,
Here.
Gillespie,
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
One more time. Sorry.
No, it's.
Motion and a second. Roll call. All right. There is no presentations, general authority business. Any remarks from governing body members? Any remarks from city manager?
Just first off, I want to publicly recognize our telecommunications folks. They're rock stars, and I just wanted to express my gratitude for all that you do. I know the council had that proclamation, but in my position, I couldn't be prouder for the job all of you. So I just thank you very much. Appreciate that. Couple things I did mention just a minute ago about the updates. If any council member has a question when you see that update for the TIF on the agenda, when you get your packet, just send me Michaela an email, because you may think of something, you hear something, and then I can try to have Jennifer incorporate that into her presentation. And the other thing is the amount of activity that is going on right now with folks that have interest in coming to Broken Arrow. It's in all parts of our community. New Orleans Square, I know there's meetings about possibly doing some work there. I see the old Reacher's building is back up for sale. We met with a prospect today that has interest in coming to Broken Arrow. So it's pretty amazing to see the private investment of that people would like to make in our community and wanting to come to the city to see how they need to be able to go forward. So I'm just really excited because I will be visiting with updating council on some of these projects and initiatives in the coming months. So that's all I have.
We do have an executive session. Is there a motion to go into a brief recess?
Make a motion to take a brief recess to clear the room for executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. It's back time.
Pretty painless.
You move so fast. I didn't know.
Water.
IT was doing some testing, and they
Yeah, there's like 30 people.
Deborah, which
We have a lot of
race
wine.
are you focused on?
The unions.
You betcha. Thank you.